Now, before we dive deep into how to write Arabic calligraphy, let us all take a step back and really understand the methodology that we'll be using to learn the various scripts taught in this course. Now, this methodology is by no means new. This is something that has been used by teachers and students for hundreds of years. This is also a very simple methodology. It is a basic staggered approach where you would start off with the absolute basics, and gradually, as you begin to perfect the previous stage, you will build on top of your skill sets as you go along. So what you see here is the basic Arabic alphabet. The Arabic alphabet has 29 letters. The big question here is, do I need to know how to write all 29 letters in order to learn Arabic calligraphy? So the simple answer to that question is no. And I'll tell you why. If you notice, in the Arabic alphabet, there are several letters that are basic duplicates of another letter. For example, the ba, ta, and tha are essentially the same letters. They are only differentiated by the position of the nuqtas and also the number of the nuqtas. The same applies for jim, ha, and kha. Same letters, just different position nuqtas. The same applies for dal, dal, and several other letters in the Arabic alphabet. So, if I was to go ahead and take out all the duplicates, if I was to get rid of all the redundancies that are in the Arabic alphabet, I would end up with 19 unique individual letters. Now notice that I say individual letters, and that's because say I take the letters ba, nun, and ya, for example. So when these letters are written individually, when they're written on their own, yes, they do look different. However, if these letters appear in the beginning of a module or in the middle of a module, they are essentially the same letters, just differentiated by the position and the number of nuqtas. And this basically leads us into our next point of discussion. So each one of the 19 Arabic calligraphy letters could be categorized in one of these three categories. So a letter could be an individual letter, a finishing letter, or a commencing letter. An individual letter is essentially a letter that cannot have a physical connection on its right side nor its left side. So in other words, this letter can only be written on its own. It cannot have any physical connections. The only individual letter that is in the Arabic calligraphy alphabet is the Hamza. A finishing letter is essentially a letter that, though can have a connection on its right side, cannot have a physical connection on its left side. So in other words, a finishing letter ends a module. A module is different than a word. A module really is a group or cluster of letters that are connected together. A word can have 1, 2, or maybe even more modules. Anyways, there are 4 finishing letters in the Arabic calligraphy alphabet, and they are Alif, Dal, Ra, and Waw. In contrast, a commencing letter is essentially a letter that can have a physical connection on its right side and its left side. So essentially, a commencing letter can appear in the beginning of a module, in the middle of a module, or at the end of a module. Most of the letters in the Arabic calligraphy alphabet are, in fact, commencing letters. All of the letters that you see in the color red here are essentially commencing letters. Keeping the three categories of letters in mind, let's now put it all in perspective and see how this is going to shape our learning process and the steps that we'll be taking in order to learn each script. Essentially, there are three stages to learning a script, and the key here is that you cannot move over to the next stage unless you feel that you have mastered the previous stage. It's just like when you're learning how to ride a bike. If you take off the training wheels prematurely, you're going to stumble and fall, hurt yourself, and probably feel very demotivated to move forward again. You don't want this to happen when you're writing calligraphy. Make sure you're ready to move on to the next stage before you make that decision. The first stage of learning a script is to practice the individual letters. So the 19 Arabic calligraphy letters written on their own individually without any connections. This is the first stage. When you feel that you have fairly mastered the stage, you can move over to the second stage, which is practicing paired letters. And essentially what this is writing each one of the commencing letter paired with every other letter in the Arabic calligraphy alphabet. For example, let's take the first commencing letter in the alphabet, which is the ba. So we'll take the ba and connect it with every other letter that is in the Arabic calligraphy alphabet. So it will be ba alif, ba ba, ba jim, ba dal, ba ra, etc. for each of the letters in the Arabic calligraphy alphabet. After we're done with ba, we will take the next commencing letter, which will be a jim, and we will repeat the same thing again. Jim alif, jim ba, jim jim, jim dal, jim ra, and so on and so forth for every letter in the Arabic calligraphy alphabet. Once you have mastered this stage, now you can move over to the third stage, which is really writing words and sentences. This is the moment that you've been waiting for and have been aspiring for. This is when you can express your creativity and start creating artwork of your own.